Is it the CPI or the CP lie? And baby boomers moving back in with their kids due to lack of savings. Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video with your friends. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Today, I read an article on yahoo.com put out by Business Insider and written by Jacob Zinkula, titled, "Harvard Researchers Think They Know Why the Booming Economy Still Isn't Being Felt by Average Americans." The author of this article referenced a working paper published in February by the National Bureau of Economic Research. Economists from Harvard University and the International Monetary Fund were authors. They analyzed whether elevated interest rates could have fueled Americans' frustrations with the economy. Well, my friends, I don't think you need to be a Harvard economist to know that elevated interest rates have fueled Americans' frustrations with the economy. I think we all know of people who rely on credit to survive. We all know of people who finance their cars, their homes, their shopping sprees, their vacations, etc. Note I said that we all know of people. Maybe you are not close friends with people like this because that's not who you want in your inner circle, but I'm sure you know of people like this. There are a lot of Americans who rely on credit. When the cost of that credit increases, life isn't so rosy anymore. Getting back to the article, the author discussed how the economists involved with this study examined the official CPI measure. This working paper revealed the U.S.'s standard measure of inflation doesn't capture how much more expensive it is to be in debt these days, even though this could be a major factor explaining Americans' dissatisfaction with the economy. Well, my friends, does this surprise you? There are some people who like to refer to the CPI as the CP lie. That might be a little harsh, but I do believe the CPI could be modified to paint a more accurate picture of what is happening in the country. To my point, the author referenced a Harvard researcher named Judd Kramer who said, and I'll quote, "As Americans have seen interest rates on their credit cards or on their car loans or on their mortgage rates shoot up in the post-pandemic period, that hasn't been reflected in the CPI." He went on to say, if we include interest rate costs into the Consumer Price Index, similarly to how it was done in the 1970s, then it turns out that the economy is not as great as everyone has been saying. And consumers' gloomy moods are a little more explainable given they've been having to deal with these higher interest rate costs over the last few years. I read some of the comments beneath this article, and I'll share some of them with you. One person wrote, "They changed the formula to suit their needs. Economy is not good." Another person said, "How is this so difficult to understand? The economy is only doing well for the Democratic elite. The rest of us are facing higher prices, stagnant wages, and unaffordable housing. Harvard researchers are baffled that no one believes the lies." Now here is a good one. This commenter reposted the title of the article, which was "Harvard Researchers Think They Know Why the Booming Economy Still Isn't Being Felt by Average Americans." He then said, "Because the economy isn't booming. That's why. The end." Short story. Well, my friends, I think there are a lot of Americans who would agree with him, especially those who don't own assets. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I read another interesting article today. This one was on Yahoo Finance, put out by Fortune, and written by Jasmine Lee, titled, "Broke Boomers Are Moving In with Their Millennial Kids Who Are Seething. Where Were They When I Needed Help?" According to the author, get the guest room ready because mom and dad are moving in. The author referenced a woman in her late 30s named Lars, whose parents didn't save enough for retirement. She said, and I'll quote, "They can no longer sustain the lifestyle they've lived for 50 plus years and are being forced to move in with me across the country." Well, my friends, These older adults are fortunate to have a daughter who is gainfully employed with her own place to live. There are some elderly people without any family to rely on. What in the world do they do when they reach an age where they can no longer work, but they lack the income to survive? The sad truth is many elderly people can't survive just on Social Security. Social Security was never designed to replace 100% of someone's pre-retirement income. The author of this article went on to say, as more boomers reach retirement age, many are facing the stark reality of insufficient savings and turning oftentimes reluctantly to their adult children for support. The median retiree has $142,000 in savings, according to a study by real estate company Clever, a far cry from the $1 million they say they'll need to retire comfortably. Well, my friends, I have been talking for quite some time here on the channel about the retirement crisis in America. I said it before and I'll say it again. However bad this is now, I suspect it will be a lot worse in the future. Some people won't even realize how bad of a situation they are in until it's too late. A lot of people put off thinking about retirement because it seems so far off, or they put off retirement planning because it is too stressful to think about. They'd rather live in the moment because tomorrow is never promised. I understand tomorrow is never promised. You could die in a car wreck later today, but you might live into old age with no family to rely on. What happens when you have inadequate savings and Social Security doesn't provide enough income to even cover the cost of rental housing plus utilities in your area? Are we going to have more people like the Golden Girls all living together? Are we going to see more people living in tent cities? People should not plan to live on the streets, sidewalks, or in parks, especially if they live in Florida. This is because Ron DeSantis is pushing a bill to prevent people from sleeping in public places such as streets, sidewalks, and parks. I hope people don't think that they can live in a homeless shelter for free long term. Some allow you to stay there short term in emergency situations for free, but many charge a per night fee after that. Obviously, this is not the case everywhere. This is going to vary considerably depending on the shelter. Until reading this article, I never heard of the term reverse boomeranging. Apparently, this describes boomers who are now moving in with their kids. The author of this article shared some data from a Federal Reserve survey about baby boomer savings, which revealed 49% of 65 to 74-year-olds had no retirement savings at all as of 2022. Let that sink in for a moment. We are talking about almost half of baby boomers. The good news is, more than 3/4 of them owned their own home. I guess you could consider that to be some retirement savings, assuming they have equity. Unfortunately, there are some people who treat their homes like piggy banks and regularly refinance to pull out equity to maintain their standard of living. Some individuals have little home equity, which could quickly be reduced to no home equity if the real estate market cools due to higher interest rates. Now, here is the most interesting paragraph in this article. The author said, economists have long called aging populations a demographic time bomb waiting to detonate, and the children of boomer parents are beginning to see its fallout. Well, my friends, I've heard this situation called a retirement crisis, but a time bomb is even more ominous. I think the storm clouds may be brewing. The question is, how bad will the wind, lightning, and rain be in the future? I found some of the comments beneath this article to be interesting, so I'll share some of them with you. One commenter said, "For those who got old and broke through misfortune, I feel sorry. Those who could not control their spending and/or savings are another story. My wife knows of a couple that want to retire but say they really can't because their budget is $3,000 per month for pet expenses and $4,000 per month for eating out. No wonder they can't afford to retire." Another commenter said, "So basically there are people who are good with their finances and people bad with their finances in every generation." The last comment that I'll share with you is pretty long, but it may resonate with some of you. This person said, "Do people manage money poorly? Absolutely. However, for others, that has nothing to do with it. I just retired early at 68. That means I have been around long enough to watch the following go away: pensions, company loyalty to its employees, reasonable work weeks, not 50 plus hours and constant availability, good factory or other jobs where being a hard worker was enough to be able to support yourself or a family, and company training for the next job skill they needed. If you were handy, you could also repair your car or items on your own to save money. Young people rightly complain about the cost of things today. For some of their parents, with the costs of raising them as kids, they were never able to get ahead financially and save money. A cell phone bill today for a husband, wife, and child costs more than a car payment used to. Then there is the internet bill. Well, my friends, I see this person's point. Times have certainly changed, but some people were fortunate enough years ago to graduate from high school and get a factory job with union protection and a livable wage. Jobs like this afforded some people a good living, and they could have set some of that money back for retirement. Some decided to live in the now and blow the money. Note, I said some of these individuals. There are others who did save and will be fine. There are some who tried to save and invest, but they got sidetracked by tragedy in their family or their investments went sour. Everyone's situation is unique, and hardly anything ever goes exactly as planned. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Please keep in mind that everything in this video is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.